support, Jordan,
that
this is the map that Tainted Minds wins against Darksided. Right here on the moon.
I wonder what they're going to go for. Is it going to be the quad tank, which I think, you know, not too bad here on the first point, but perhaps not. Sliz or Jay going to be swapping off onto the Genji, so it's more or less dive. Baby Poro is going to be going onto the Moira as well. Not too bad of an option here, but well, we'll see how it works for Tainted Minds. I'm not going to make a comment until we get to see it play out. It's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, it hasn't necessarily worked so far, but everything's different on the moon. Because it's
made of cheese.
I wonder who brought that up. Maybe because they had holes. And straight away, this isn't looking so good, Jordan.
Nope, someone's on the point though. Trying to be a bit of a
person's
sneaky.
on the point.
I think it's probably D-Field. He was the one that did that a lot last week and might be just trying to get a little bit of the focus of Darksided headed in his direction.
It works better when you haven't already lost one of your support players though. That is definitely for sure. And they're going to have to do something about Termo right now because he's a bit of a pain, a bit of a hassle. You can hear one player back on the point once again. Trisamal going to go down. That's one less tank to work with here. Let's see whether they choose to try and push this or not. They will. Tainted Minds pushes for Darksided, dropping back onto the point. Nice and safe so far. All 6 players still alive, looking good.
At least Tainted Minds have now started to get a little bit of map control. They've got that high ground, which they have finally forced Darksided off. So despite the fact that they've got no ticks on the point, they're at least progressing, albeit slowly, but it doesn't matter. As long as they can get this first point capped up inevitably, and Slitz or Jay coming up on an ulti, this is where we're going to see Tainted Minds start to engage on the fight.
Well, Slitz or Jay ready to go.
Oh, too
Thought
late.
maybe that he would lose some damage, but comes out, as you say,
that could
a
not have gone
bit
worse.
Too late. And no, not working out.
And he lands on the
all.
steel trap as well, Ben. Like, he pulls it out after 3 players on his team are dead, and then he just dives straight into a trap. Like,
I think he lost HP, right? He was down to like 110 or something. Got healed up by the Moira.
I mean, that's
like, okay, we're ready to go now. I've seen the medic.
I kind of feel for Slitz or Jay there, to be honest. You know, that can't have been fun. That cannot have been fun at all. But look, it is what it is. Tainted Minds are going to have to deal with it, and Darksided, they think they're probably in a pretty good position now. Like 3 ultimates up, 6 about to come up, and Tainted Minds have just wasted their Genji ulti. So
yeah, looking very similar here to what we saw on Numbani, Jordan. We take a look at Tainted Minds, D-Field and Baby Poro both ready to go. That Coalescence potentially can push them through, but really when you talk about 5, ulti's about to be 6 with the supercharge. You hear that Coalescence coming out.
Oh,
Termo finds D-Field, and USMC ready to go once again with the tack visor. We see this time and time again. Not so much you can do, I suppose, up against all that ultimate coming out of TM in terms of damage from a soldier, but inevitably you'd like to think that TM can bring this back. 1.5, almost 2 ticks. Are we going to get a second? They're trying so hard to hold it back. They find 2 ticks. Now looking for a third, Jordan. This might be enough for Tainted Minds. They do it. They grab point A.
That was actually really good from Tainted Minds. You know, Darksided, like you said, they had 6 ultis available. They put all of them into that fight, but the usage out of them just wasn't really necessarily what it needed to be. They didn't get too much out of their ultis, and Tainted Minds definitely got a lot of value out of theirs, particularly God's World. With the Transcendence, really did a good job of keeping his team alive, and that puts Tainted Minds in a position now to maybe try and cap out that second point, which again is difficult, of course, but already getting a pick early on in the piece. D-Field finds Termo, who's still driving around in his mysterious tire, but
we finds 2.
That's not so great. It could have been something, but now it can't be.
Alas, they will go down. And USMC pushing out as far as he possibly can here, trying to find some picks. Quad J now demeched.
What I really like about this Darksided squad is that they know when they have the advantage and they know when to push the advantage as well. And they've done it once again there. They've forced Quad J just onto the Baby D.Va, so it's going to take quite a while.
I hate being Baby D.Va
for him to get back up into the mech, and decides to go back into the base and swap off.
That's how bad it is, Jordan.
Yeah, it's really not fun at all. But, you know, how long that costs them, you know, like another 30 seconds or so. And just for the sake of an extra 10 seconds of chasing from Darksided, USMC doing a great job there to get rid of the mech, and now Darksided in a little bit better of a position, but Tainted Minds still do have a lot of ultis to play with here, so Darksided definitely can't rest on their laurels. They've done a good job to this point, but need to keep doing it.
Perhaps a great Coalescence into a great Dragon Blade is what they need. Slitz or J pushes through, finds Termo, finds USMC. This is good. The Coalescence keeping Slitz or J alive, and that finds Punk. That's 3 down right now. They're on the point. There's 2 ticks going for the 3rd. The Winston comes out. Mooney now on the point, but should go down, will go down. And they find it with 3:11 on the clock. You were so right, Jordan. This is Tainted Mind's chance.
Yeah, look, I definitely did talk them up. I said this was a really good map for them, and I thought they were going to clap out both of those points with 3 minutes and 11 on the time bank. But seriously, Tainted Minds actually do surprise me a little bit there. Admittedly, it was a really, really awesome position for them to be in going into that final point with 3 ultis available and Darksider not really having any. Slids4j got a lot of value out of his ultimate, and Darksider just a little bit too slow to try and recontest there. As soon as Mooney comes on, he gets the Discord orb onto him, and essentially he just melts as a Winston with the Discord
great,
orb.
Except when you've got a Discord orb in you and you're sitting in amongst 6 opponents.
Yeah, definitely. And so Tainted Minds, like, they've really executed well into that second point, and they utilized their ultimates really, really well throughout that entire map. But now the question is going to be how long can they hold off against Darksided? You know, they've done well on their attacking side, but so far we haven't really seen too much from their defense. Remember,
they've
first point of
on
Numbani was very, very easy for Darksided to push through. So we need to see another solid defense out from Tainted Minds, which admittedly they did have last week. And they did have it with this kind of a setup as well, though I think D-Field might have been on the Tracer instead of the McCree. Much of a muchness, though, as it can still definitely work here for Tainted Minds up against the quad tank that, well, it looked like for a moment Darksided are going to run, and particularly Termo on that Zarya does probably give it away. Maybe we do still see a Tracer, though probably not from Punk. And I guess if we were going to see one, it would be from Termo, so... Oh, no, from USMC, but he's on Roadhog, so fair enough. I think it's going to be quad tank from Darksided. And for Tainted Minds, they have the tools again that they need to sort of hold this one off, but it's just going to come down to that execution.
They've done what they needed to do on attack.
Yep.
It really all comes down to defense now. Are they going to be able to hold out both points? That's a big ask. But can they hold out with a better time than 3:11? That's definitely doable here. So,
wow, Molotov's already up to 20% of charge just off the back of that little trap that Slids4j did lay. But Slids4j up to 50% as well. That's really, really helpful. Might even get his first ulti up before the fight actually even begins, which could potentially be a lifesaver, really, for Tainted Minds. We know how difficult it can be to defend that first onslaught from the tanks.
He's at 85% already, Jordan. Ready to go, 96, ready for a Riptire. Any second now. They're still on the point. That's a fair bit of damage coming across the board. Now Quad J about to go down. D-Field as well. Termo is picked up, but I don't know if it's enough. Molotov here with the Coalescence should be able to keep Darksided alive. Maybe they find the point, maybe not. D-Field's D-mech'd one. Molotov almost goes down. Looks to me maybe they're getting forced off the point. Yeah, the problem is now for Darksided that this fight has gone on a little bit too long, and Molotov is not really going to be a healer at this point because he just can't get the heals out. He needs to get those right clicks out, and unfortunately that means that there's not going to be enough healing coming out on those tanks for Darksided, and Tainted Minds will come away with the fight win. Just a little bit extra done there by Tainted Minds, and getting the pick early on onto Termo as well I think was pretty critical, because obviously Zarya in this competition is going to be a pretty big chunk of your damage, particularly when charged up. You're looking at your Zarya and your Roadhog. When you look across the board, there's not actually that much damage, and that's exactly what we saw when the fight lasts just too long. Yep. And everyone starts coming back. That's when the Junkrat starts to outpace the tanks. But once again, Darksided are going to give it another crack, this time with the sound barrier up and a lot of ultis coming up shortly as well. This one may be a little bit more difficult for Tainted Minds to hold. Here comes both a Riptire and a Deadeye, Jordan. Riptire going to go down. Not looking so good now for TM. Mooney finds out one. And there's Baby Poro, see you later. Looking very good now for Darksided, as they should be able to capture this point. Yeah, Tainted Minds just getting themselves a little bit out of position there. I think the self-destruct was a key part of that as well, actually, from Darksided, that sort of split a lot of those players. And Tainted Minds, they ended up sort of dropping in little skirmishes as opposed to one big fight, and despite having the ultimate advantage, now Darksided in a really good spot, just charging their way onto that second point. They've got Earth Shatter, they've got Sound Barrier still as well, and Graviton Surge coming up shortly, so they should be able to cap this one out, Ben. It's almost time for a Wombo combo, potentially, Elfishguy. If this Graviton Surge comes out in the exact right position. You don't want it to get caught by the D.Va, however, but USMC has found two, Jordan, both with headshots as well. So a ton of damage coming out from Darksided right now, looking very good, stacking these ultimates, waiting maybe for Molotov to get that Coalescence as well.
Not so sure about that one from Baby Poro. Perhaps a little bit preemptive, expecting Darksided to push in there. But that's a wasted ultimate now. Darksided going to wait for the Reinhardt to come in, and now the Graviton Surge comes out.
Graviton Surge, Godsword looks like he was about to go down, but does not. Going to bring out the Trance to stay alive. 6 of them on the point, make that 5 as Mooney's picked up. Self-destruct, or was that perhaps a, I think perhaps a bomb coming out instead? Jordan, Quad J's found 2. Yeah, that's a nice pick, actually. Tainted Minds looking very neat, cleaning up Darksided. Darksided threw a ton into that fight and really did not get very much from it.
Exactly. The value coming out of those Darksided ultimates was not really there, not what they needed it to be. And I mean, Termo, I hate to be the one to sort of put the blame on one person, but Termo did not really get anything out of that Graviton Surge at all. Mooney went down very, very quickly after using the Earth Shatter, and I didn't really see any players that were particularly affected by that from Tainted Minds. And again, it just comes down to 1 or 2 good ultis out from Tainted Minds and 3 or 4 not so great ones out from Darksided.
Death Blossom finds no one. Again, you will see Anna throwing out an ulti across the board, but I don't know if it's going to force them back or do the damage that you need. We'll have to see. It does hold them for now, and that time is ticking away. That's definitely got to count for something. Punk ready to go with a self-destruct, and Swilko as well. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Finds 1. Baby Poro goes down. You can see both Slits or Jay, and another player from team's being picked up here. Now only 3 alive as Trusimal forces himself back out onto the point here. There you go. Godswell just trying to buy some time. Want to pick up Termo here, but Trusimal now goes down. As we said, Winston can only do so much against almost a full team, Jordan. 2 caps, or 2 picks, sorry, onto the point, looking for a third. Almost at that 3-11, it could be 50-50 here.
Yeah, Trusimal looking to try and recontest. The trickle has certainly been better for Tainted Minds than it was for Darksided, but at the end, actually, Darksided come away with a little bit better of a time there than Tainted, and I thought that it was going to be a little bit difficult for them to get that, given the point that they were at, but in the end, Tainted Minds, they sort of just crumble there. Baby Poro gets picked off by the self-destruct after a couple of her teammates did also get picked off earlier on in that fight, I think by Mooney, actually. And so just 3 players going down at a fairly inopportune time for Tainted Minds does, you know, maybe sour their defenses a little bit there, because it was looking good. It really was looking good. And Darksided were looking a little bit shaky on the attack there, but I don't know, it almost feels like they got gifted that.
Yeah, I don't know whether a couple of the nano boosts came out maybe a little bit early. At least one of them did. Maybe the second one achieved what Baby Poro wanted it to, which was to force Darksided away. But in the end, I guess if you're going to get picked anyway, it doesn't really matter when you use it if you don't get a chance to come back alive. So
yeah, I mean, look, I don't really think that that was necessarily Baby Poro's fault there for using the ultis a little bit too early. I mean, it obviously could have helped for Tainted, but I think the problems there were more so they were getting picked, and maybe that does come back down to the healers not necessarily getting those shots across that they need to, the heals across that they need to. But at the end of the day, Tainted Minds got picked at inopportune times, and Darksided took advantage of that, albeit maybe a little bit slower than they ordinarily would have.
But overall, it's essentially a 50-50 split here on that first section, Jordan. So 3-14 up against 3-11, really much of a muchness. So Tainted Minds, all 6 members should be very happy, very proud of that. They managed to take Darksided to a second half, essentially, here on Horizon Lunar Colony. Yeah,
definitely. Now they just need to have a little bit better of an attack on the start of Point A, which is obviously not really going to come to fruition here. D-Field going down early, that's going to cost Tainted Minds some time, but sometimes that's just how it is. You walk into the trap and, well, now you know where the trap is at least.
Yeah, that's it. Found it, guys. At least it can't come back now, and you can push out once again. Tainted Minds now 2:30 on the clock. Lost about 40 seconds here so far. Haven't managed to really get all that far. Termo hasn't, to be fair, really managed to get all that much. Ultimate charge, 1 player, 2 players on the site. Genji and Tracer just trying to bait perhaps a player or 2 back here from Darksided.
Yeah, just trying to force that split from Darksided, which they kind of have in a way. Termo does drop down, but he's quite instantly able to get back up, and not enough picks coming out there from Tainted Minds as a result of that split defense that Darksided had to employ.
Blitzor finds 1 before getting picked up. Unfortunately for him, however, Molotov is able to be resurrected by Swilko.
Really late kill there onto Trusimal as well. So Darksided once again hunting down Tainted Minds at the best possible time.
this second attempt at defense going a little bit better perhaps now for Darkseid at Elfishguy. Tainted Minds really struggling to do anything to force their way onto this point. I suppose the first time around, it did take them a little while, but now with 1:30 on the clock, they are starting to run out of time. They would love to at least find 1 or 2 ticks. You want to give yourself something to work with.
Well, Termo's got himself another Riptire here, which could be problematic for Tainted Minds, or perhaps not so.
Nice work. Nice work from Quad J. Indeed, Termo's Riptire.
USMC seems very aware of this flank that D-Field is trying to pull off, so D-Field will eventually get in onto that point.
Yeah, so whose choice? And with the Dragon Blade as well, Jordan.
This could be dangerous for USMC, however, he's got the Pocket Mercy, so he should be okay.
Slitzel J needs some heals, finally gets them, the Coalescence comes out. We saw Coalescence Dragon Blade work before. Will it work this time? USMC coming out with Attack Visor. Who stays along for longest? Well, it's not going to be Slitzel J, and that is that push going to get destroyed by Darksided.
A lot invested in that one from Tainted Minds, and it's basically the worst possible time as well, because now they've got 30 seconds left on the clock. They aren't going to have time to build up many more ultimates. Obviously, Quad J and Trizamel going to be coming up on them, and D-Field still does have his, but they've put a fair bit into that last fight, and now Darksided in a really good position to hold this one off. And Termo with a good Riptire here could legitimately just shut down the push.
Yeah, well, with Trizamel getting picked up. What else can you do here?
Exactly, they have to push, but they're going to be going in 5 versus 6, so this is not going to be fun.
Yeah, and that was a Trizamel that was going to be ready with an ultimate as well, potentially. But after all of that, round 3 is complete, as you can see. And after round 3, Tainted Minds' score has not changed. So that was not the result they wanted here. Now, Darksided going to have 3 minutes, 14 seconds to find themselves 1/3 of point A.
It's a bit weird for Tainted Minds, because it seems like they're quite comfortable playing proactively, and when things are going their way and they just have to execute how they want to play out, it seems to work for them. But as soon as something kind of a spanner in the works comes out when they have to play a bit reactively, Tainted Minds, they seem to fall apart a little bit. You know, seeing their Winston get picked off there at the most inopportune time, inevitably, no one even ends up getting on the point, which traditionally would end up actually being Winston's job. But someone else has to do it when he's dead.
Theoretically, we will probably lose this fight, but they never even had the fight.
They never had the fight, yeah, exactly. So, you know, maybe you've only got a 5% chance of winning it, but 5% is better than 0%.
Do you have a problem with the fact that that is looking at the Earth? Like,
no.
It's a very large telescope, Jordan. Whose house are they looking at?
Yours, probably.
My house.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what's going on in the life of Sandman.
Just me standing there in the window in my undies?
Well, I mean, I would hope you'd be in your undies, because at least you'd have something on then.
Well, it's true. It's true. I'm just wondering what they're looking at. Like, I understand having one on the moon is good because you can look into space without all the light from Earth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
you don't have to go through the atmosphere. You don't have all the light pollution, which is why you put one as a satellite, Jordan.
Right, right. Well, that's not what we're here to talk about.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, we can. Maybe off stream. Tainted Minds, though, need to try and hold things out for a long time here on point A, Ben. And Slitzel J, well, he's opened up nicely onto Molotov, so it's a good enough start. Yeah,
decent start indeed, coming out from TM. And Slitzel trying to build up some ult charge here. We saw how well the Junkrat played on defense before, and if Slitzel J can do the same here, this time for Tainted Minds, that would be very beneficial. And if someone walks into this trap, which they will, buy him a ton of ult charge here, almost ready for that Riptire as well, Jordan.
Nice body blocking, though, from Darkseid. It does keep Termo alive. Unfortunately, not enough to keep Molotov alive. So that's 2 progressions that he's been picked off in before Darkseid have really even been able to get on to the point. And obviously, that's keeping them at bay for now. And it's not necessarily his fault. It's just that he's unfortunately the one that's taking the brunt of that spam from Slitzel J.
Here's the Riptire coming out. I think only actually manages to find the barrier there onto Termo.
Did a bit of damage on Punk as well, but Punk's in an Eva suit, so it's not a big problem.
Yeah, wearing that mech makes life just that little bit easier. There's the Coalescence coming out. Termo almost getting picked, stays alive, pushing through onto the point. These are a lot of players now for Darksided on attack. Holgi here coming out. Quad J almost going down, and they only need 1/3, and that is precisely what they find.
Yeah, so Tainted Minds just getting off the point there. Admittedly, they were going to be losing that fight anyway. As soon as Darksided had a full 6 versus 6, they were ready to go in there and essentially take the fight to Tainted Minds. And yeah, this actually really was a good play out from Slidzor. He got both of the DPS, and then I think a healer as well. Oh no, it was the Diva. But yeah, 3 players down, and that really just won the fight. Or won, I suppose, that part of the fight for Tainted Minds.
It got them the point.
Unfortunately, they're not able to close it out there. At least they kind of make it close and push Darksided. But at the end of the day, it kind of always felt like Darksided was going to come away with a victory there, even coming into the overtimes, and especially after they held out for so long on that first point.
It was a good effort, though, Jordan.
It was definitely good from Tainted Minds.
And your prediction of Tainted Minds winning that map was almost a real thing. I know you didn't predict it, I did. But it was the most impressive we've seen them up against Darksided. And let's be real here, Darksided, top team in the group. And
potentially.
One of the two. Okay, I was just trying to just make things a little bit quicker, a bit briefer. And now I've had to do a whole thing.
Now you've just completely ruined
it, Elfishguy.
And whose fault is that?
This is why we can't have nice things. You're not going to be here next week.
Maybe I shouldn't be here because I am a nice thing.
Anyway, the point I was making is that they should feel happy about it. You can't win everything. Yeah. To be real, they haven't actually won a map. But that was pretty close.
As happy as you can be about losing a map, at least they've pushed Tainted Mind. They've pushed Darksided there. So, look, it's not going to be fun for Tainted Minds playing this match out, but it's just got to be done. And so, try and get everything out of it if possible. You know, maybe it makes some life a bit more difficult for Darksided heading on to the future if you end up getting a map, which now they only have one chance left of doing.
This is it. One chance, one shot. So let's go and take a look at what that last map will be. Dorado.
All right. Well,
what do you think, Jordan? What's your thoughts on Dorado? Are we going to be seeing a lot of Widowmakers?
We'll probably see a little bit of Widowmaker. Yeah, I think Termo is going to be jumping onto that one, and I certainly think Slidzor will be jumping onto it as well. Have to expect that it's going to go well for Darksided once more. There's not really any question about that one in my mind. Like I said, the 4 Mality for Darksided, the 4-0 Mality at this point. What I think is going to be the case.
Yeah, okay. It's probably, look, the reality is that I think both teams had an expectation that probably Darksided should be able to 4-0 this match. However, seen a lot of good things out of Tainted Minds. At the same time, Darksided has looked very schmick a number of times throughout this match as well. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with up against Blank. That's for sure.
Definitely. That's going to be a very, very exciting match.
Is it going to be another Drop Bears, Masterminds, 4-0? Well, this is disappointing. I hope not.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I'm probably going to say 3-2 for that. And, well, Slidzor, I did say he's going to pick up the Widow, and, well, he's definitely done a good job of it so far. USMC goes down early on.
Picks up the Widow and picks up the Tracer with it. Yeah. It's precisely what he does. Looking to find another. Unfortunately, you have to wait for that payload, so cannot just run on in and make the most of it. But it's a nice little pick to get things going. Payload now, as you can see.
Yeah, it gets a lot of
in under the bridge. First choke point, ready to go. And a Winston right in their face.
Yeah, not a fun time there for Tainted. However, D-Field under a bit of pressure right now. It could make things even a little bit more difficult for Tainted Minds. Slidzor still being an ever-present threat, and Darksided don't particularly seem too keen to actually commit to any of these fights. And you can understand why, because every time one of them peeks their head out, Slidzor is there and waiting with the Widowmaker.
Infrasight comes out. Maybe Slidzor will be able to make the most of this one. It's very difficult, as we said, with the Winston in your face. But Mooney goes down. USMC goes down.
Slidzor just being a machine right now, and Darksided need to find a way to deal with this. Transcendence was popped there for Darksided that kind of keeps Tainted Minds at bay for a moment, but you have to think that this train will not stop rolling for Tainted Minds right now. They are pushing on so vigorously.
Termo trying hard here with the tack visor. You can hear the sound barrier coming out as well. Self-destruct on the point. Tainted Minds had shields across the board. They've now dissipated USMC. Pulse Bomb ready to go. Potential to pick up 1 or 2 players here if he pushes through. Doesn't need to for now. They do manage to stop the payload, stem the flow. But it's been a prolonged battle that maybe Darksided can win here.
Well, I'm not so sure. I mean, Tainted Minds are starting to get the respawns in, and Darksided don't have too many players actually left in this fight. It is Mooney trying to keep things alive. Slidzor got no problems at the back of the map, spamming away with the Widowmaker, and inevitably, Tainted Minds should be able to cap this one out. Now, Darksided have wasted a fair bit of time, but they've also invested quite a lot of their ultimates into that one. USMC's the only one that has anything up here, and I mean, it's a pulse bomb, so it's pretty much always up at this point, isn't it?
I always feel like there's a couple of key points here on this map, a couple of areas where you can maybe find some free ground, some quick ground here with the payload. This is the first part, and a good start, a good part of this is Tainted Minds getting that high ground and not having to fight at this first corner. Yeah,
not to mention they also had Infrasight out there, and so Darkside weren't particularly keen to peek their heads out. They're just saying, you know what, we'll give them a little bit of room, but now that the Infrasight is gone, we're going to try and re-engage this fight.
Well, the first corner is where the battle will be, and Baby Poro's the first one to go down. Punk has a self-destruct ready to go, stays alive. There's one coming out. It's not from Punk, however. Punk going to throw out a self-destruct in, I suppose, just to reciprocate and trying to get a full health mech back. But Darksided will manage to stop the payload here for now, for the moment, and will manage to get that high ground.
USMC coming around the back, though. Slitzel J has spotted him, but there's a pulse bomb, and Baby Poro can't do anything about it.
Cannot. It's very tough. You've only got half a second to react there. D-Field pushing through, pulse bomb of his own, finds Mooney. That's Turmo and Mooney down now for Darksided. Maybe D-Field can do some damage if you can find USMC as well. That would be fantastic. The D.Va, as you see, has been demeched. The payload looking like it's going to start pushing again. There we go. 3 players on the payload trying to get around that second corner. So I said 3, ended up being none. We'll get there.
Yeah, well, Tainted Minds still doing a pretty good job on this attacking side, actually. You know, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left on that clock, and they're already almost at that second point. However, this is where the payload does start to stall sometimes, and Turmo, with the Dragon Blade available, well, maybe not even necessary now that USMC gets a pretty impactful pick. Another one as well.
Yeah, this fight should be over now for TM. They're going to have to redraw, regroup, and try and fight this again. As you just said, Jordan, this is a tougher place to hold as it gets closer to the defender spawn. By hold, I mean push forward. So it's going to be a big ask. You've got Quad J and Trisamal both with ultimates there on their tanks. And that's really all TM have to work with. Darksided have a ton, have 5, almost 6 ready to go here. So this is going to cost a fair bit of time. Look, if TM gets through the second point here, I think it's going to be an overtime.
Well, that's a good pick for Slitzel J, but can Tainted Minds make any use of that? There's still a lot to play with for Darksided here, and the longer they can just delay Tainted Minds, the faster USMC is going to get back into this fight, and already we're seeing big problems for Tainted Minds as Darksided to try to engage the fight on them.
Yeah, Turmo's found 2. Molotov finds 1 as well. It's essentially a team wipe here coming out from Darksided onto TM. They will manage to stagger them out as well. So that's probably less than ideal. 119 now on the clock. TM have managed to hold both their ultimates, however, for their tanks. They haven't thrown anything away there.
As they shouldn't have.
Well, what we want to see.
Very interesting looking crouch walk.
I like how there's still like speed coming off the back of the Tracer, like the...
Yeah, the speed lines.
Yeah.
60 seconds remaining.
Got to go fast, mate.
Yeah, definitely. But USMC, let's see how fast he can go and get a pulse bomb here. Definitely looking for it.
Well, there's the potential here to just stop this battle in its tracks, and with Godsworld going down, that makes life just that little bit more difficult. Pulse bomb still not used, not needed to be used. And it looks like they're going to wait for one last final push. Baby Poro will have Valkyrie. Slitzel J, if he stays alive, should have Tac Visor by the end of that fight as well. As we said before, it's going to be overtime before they have an opportunity really to make something of this. That Valkyrie forced out now by USMC. Let's see where this pulse bomb goes. Really wants to save it for that D.Va, I think. Sound barrier comes out, pulse bomb as well. Finds no one. D-Field down 50%. Everyone from Darkside is still alive. Slitzel J finds Mooney. That Tac Visor is ready now as well. That's going to come out as well with the Baby Poro with that charge. But it's a little bit harder up against the Molotov there, bringing out that trance in the meantime.
Yeah, absolutely. Turmo trying to go ham with the Dragon Blade there. Can only get one Slitzel J going down, but like you said, maybe the defenders have a bit of a closer spawn here, and so Tainted Minds, they need to kind of clean up Darksided pretty quickly here, otherwise we're going to start to see a trickle come into effect. Wilco, the only one trying to stay alive. No, Molotov is still there, but regardless, Tainted Minds should be able to push this one on forward. Darksided probably not going to be in a position to contest this before it does get capped, and really the problem there for Darkseid was that Mooney kind of got isolated. He wasn't able to get healed by his healers, and Tainted Minds picked him off in that little cutout room on the side. Now they've managed to secure themselves a little bit more time to play with here, but not a lot. Tainted Minds still in a fairly good spot now.
Yeah, pretty difficult push, really, for the attackers, Jordan. And I don't know if they'll be able to get here onto the point in 1 minute and 8 seconds. A lot to ask. We'll see what picks they can get. Well, Baby Poro's gone down already. So that makes life tough. Molotov picked up in return. That's 2 picks, really, if you count the Diva going down out of the mech. And now Darkseid are just trying to bring this back. Swilko doing his best. USMC here pushing through. Diva goes down. And now 45 seconds is all Tainted Minds have to attack with. In terms of ultimates, both those tanks ready to go here for the attacking side. The Darksided, a little bit to work with. I'd like to think that they should have a fair bit of ult charge by the time the battle is over. However,
Punk's got the self-destruct there available as well, so that could be pretty big here in forcing Tainted Minds back, or at least splitting them up. We've seen that already throughout this series so far. Punk relatively on point with the self-destructs.
Oh, man.
Tainted Minds going to now try and commit into this final fight.
Trusamel almost goes down so early. You see the sound barrier coming out. That was almost forced. Quad J D-Mech, and you can hear a Dragon Blade in the background as well. Molotov with a trance. Termo trying to chase them down. Slidzor's actually picked up USMC. So you can see it's, what, 4 versus 5 with Darkseid having the spawn advantage as well. We're already into overtime. They're getting forced off the payload, Jordan. And if Slidzor J goes down, that might be that.
Yeah, good focus fire out though from Tainted Minds. Does get the tanks down pretty quick of Darkseid, so a bit more room to play with for the Tainted Minds DPS and healers. For now, however, Slidzor J under a lot of pressure and down very low. Eventually will be dropped, and slowly but surely Darkseid is starting to stabilize in this fight as the respawns do come in. Mooney, you can see just flying over there and no one able to get on the point. Inevitably for Tainted Minds, they will drop there. Not a bad push actually out from them. They do get the majority of the way, but Darkseid, I feel, are still probably pretty confident with this one and being able to close that one out.
It was a great point A push, though, from Tainted. They did really well there. On the back, I feel, potentially, of Slidzor J and a number of very good Widowmaker kills.
Yeah, particularly at the start, Slidzor J looked really, really good. And I wonder if Darkseid are going to be employing a Widowmaker of their own. Tainted Minds certainly are on the defense. And why not when Slidzor was hitting shots like that?
Yeah, well, that's it. There were some really good shots, and it's a lot easier to play the game, Jordan, when your opponent's 2 players down.
Yep. And carrying behind any bit of cover that they can find as well. Darkseid didn't really even try to contest that first point until it was essentially on top of the point, and that's where we started to see them, you know, invest some ultis and start to trickle in and waste a bit of Tainted Minds' time. But up until that point, it was just a free push essentially for Tainted. Swilko's, again, looking like he wants to go for just that early pick-off that we sometimes see from players on Dorado. They'll have their healer start on the Widow and take a shot or 2 and then swap off pretty quickly. Doesn't look like he's going to have anyone to even sort of take a peek at. Everyone from Tainted is playing a little bit safe from that spawn at this point.
Overall, Tainted Minds actually had a pretty good attacking round. A lot of teams won't make it all the way to the end. A lot of teams we will see will get caught out just before point B. And that wasn't the case. They got through. And they made a decent effort of it from point B to C, even though they really only had like a minute and a half to work with. So overall, I think Tainted Minds should be pretty happy with that attack. Let's see if they can back it up here on defense.
Well, Slidzor J having a peek in there, but nothing of it just yet. Termo actually the one to go onto the Widow, so we will have a dedicated Widow actually for Darkseid as opposed to just that initial sort of presence that I was speaking about. As of yet, Termo's not spotted too much out.
Yeah, let's see how this Widow v Widow battle plays out.
Always the key, really, isn't it?
No action so far. They're happy just to let it come underneath the first bridge.
Slidzor J would have heard Termo there grappling up, but not going to be able to land the shot.
Quad J's already been demeched here. Molotov actually being the one to get that damage. Slidzor J not able to find any kills so far. Waiting, watching to try and find this Widow. Mooney picks up one, and Termo actually onto God's World. So a great first little push here from Darkseid. TM I feel let them a very long way forward and then didn't punish them when they came underneath the bridge. So that's a very, very quick point A push coming out from Darksided.
Yeah, and in all of that, Slizzle not really able to get too much done on the Widowmaker there. Trying to sort of take the 1v1 duel against Termo, but it never really presented itself. Yeah, he did get that one headshot across, but didn't even get the kill off the back of it. So Tainted Minds are going to have to go back to the drawing board here and make sure that they can hold on to this second point for a little bit longer. Otherwise, Darksided will continue that push on very fast.
Here, Jordan. Yep. They are all the way at point B. This is where the fight is, and that payload with one member on it is pushing ever so slowly.
Well, that's just Darksided pushing forward and taking advantage of their advantages. Like what I spoke about, where they know that they have something to gain from going and hunting and playing aggressively. And again, they're going to be able to do that. So far, uncontested payload push for Darksided.
This is just not the type of Overwatch that you want to be playing if you're Tainted Minds on defense. Like, how often do you practice, all right, we're caught in our own spawn on B 5 seconds after they captured A?
Yeah, Quad J just trying to push forward there.
Not great.
Isolating himself, essentially, and now Twisted is, again, isolated. So far, it's just Tainted Minds. Their tanks pushing forward. Everyone else is sitting at the back trying to hide from the Darksided tanks. So it's really not so coordinated from Tainted Minds at the moment. We need to see them working more as a unit.
Yeah, they're certainly struggling here in the broken aspect of the play. So that payload now very, very close to B. And we'll see what Termo can do here. It's Baby Poro going down. And Trusimar won't manage to even chase Termo down there. I don't know if just missed that jump or not, or that wasn't the target. But they've lost 2 players, and Darksided looking very, very strong here, pushing onto the point. Diva almost going down. Quad J losing a ton of HP, and Termo picks up Baby Poro as well. So this should be B going over to Darksided, and with 4:55 on the clock, I'm not even sure if Tainted Minds can stall this one out in the first push.
Nope, I agree with you. I definitely think this one is going to be going the way of Darksided, but let's see what Tainted Minds can do. Unfortunately, they're still being spawn camped, Ben, and they don't really have anything to even get their way out of there. There's no ultimates available for Tainted Minds, and still the payload continues uncontested for Darksided.
Well,
Molotov's having the easiest game of his life.
Just chilling on the payload.
No one's going to contest. No one can get there.
They'll try,
Ooh.
but there's only so much you can do. This is potentially the last battle here on the payload. Godswold's gone down. Termo on very low HP. Punk pushes through, chases them down. This Mora might get picked up. There we go. See you later. I actually think that was USMC. There you go. They got the damage. A self-destruct going to come out on the payload. Might get that mech back, but you can see Trusimal about to go down as well. Punk going to get demech'd. Maybe they're going to be able to stall this out just that little bit longer.
Yep. Perhaps that spawn advantage is going to work in the favour of Tainted Minds. Mooney, though, popping the Primal Rage could be the difference here as Tainted Minds start to fall apart again and again. Tainted Minds always seem to find a way to just let it slip. And Darksided come away with it again. Maybe it's not Tainted Minds letting it slip. Maybe it's Darksided finding a way to grasp that final hurdle that they need, or
life finds a way, Elfishguy. Life finds a way.
Indeed, indeed. And so that's a 4-0 for Darksided, exactly as we would have expected and exactly as we would have hoped out from them as well. Fairly solid performance across the board, I feel. I mean, there was moments, at least, where Tainted Minds was able to contest them a little bit and push them a little bit. But overall, it felt like a pretty straightforward match for Darksided. And again, a good sort of warm-up, a good sort of lead-up into their bigger match this week, which is against Blank Blue.
Yeah, that's going to be a big ask for Darksided up against Blank Blue. I suggest it could, as we hinted before, it might be one of those Drop Bears masterminds all over again. I don't know if that's the case, Jordan.
I hope not.
I hope not too. I'm ready for it to be our match of the regular season, our biggest, best match of the regular season.
Could definitely be. It's maybe a little bit of a hint into the future. Maybe we get to see those two teams up against each other at the finals. I mean, I think we're basically pretty confident we're going to be seeing both of them at finals. However, doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. But yeah, definitely a nice little bit of a taste tester for everything to come.
And for Tainted Minds, well, they go down without picking up a map, but they got a draw last week. And overall, I felt that as a team, they've certainly progressed through the season. There's a lot to learn. It's certainly difficult going up. If you've got 12 teams in a region who are playing, it can be difficult going up against the #1 team in your in your group.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, look, for Tainted Minds, it obviously hasn't been quite a successful season. It's not obviously what they would have wanted, but at the end of the day, they've still been able to compete in Contenders, which is a lot better than the majority of teams in Overwatch
a pretty
Australia.
big achievement in and of itself to qualify for Contenders. So kudos to them, and hopefully we'll see them next split be able to do bigger and better job. And
if they're here, I mean, they still have to play against.
For them, fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but there's some trials teams that are obviously going to have to play off against some of these bottom teams in Contenders, and it's always a bit of an exciting time to see who's going to come in, who's going to stay in, who's disappearing, and all that kind of thing. But definitely, Tainted Minds are going to be having to play off for that position.
Well, the pressure is not over for them, but hopefully they've gained a lot through the season, which gives them the edge up against potentially some other Contenders or trials teams. So.